Welcome back to the Realty Funnels Podcast. I'm 𝐂𝐓𝐇, and with me today is Steve Earl, who brings a powerful approach to investing in real estate for long-term wealth. Steve, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin, for having me on your podcast. This is great. I'm excited to chat with you and share a little bit about what I know.
Well, thank you. And I'm excited to talk with you and to share with everybody what it is that you're doing, because you obviously have cracked the code. You've got a formula that just works over and over again to help people, everyday folk, investing in real estate. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're situated, what you do, how you got into real estate, and then we're going to dive into your investment approach as well.
So, I'll just give you the quick story of how I got into real estate. I'm located in Utah. I started my life up in Canada. Alberta, Canada is where I grew up. My wife and I moved down here way back in 1991. So we've been here for over 30 years now. Never thought in a million years that we would live in Utah. We came down here to do some schooling and ended up falling in love with the mountains and all the recreation here and the people who are just amazing. And so we ended up staying. As far as career, I've always been an entrepreneur. From a very young age. I started out delivering newspapers at 5 a.m. and
Me too.
and then I hired my friends to come and deliver them for me. And I just kind of, earned it, skimmed off the top a little bit. And I kind of cut my teeth that way. I sold ice cream from I had a bike with like a refrigerator, somehow strapped to this bike. I would drive around and sell ice cream to my friends and people at the park. And so over time, I just knew that I was going to be in business, got a degree in business management and ended up here. So while I was in college, I started a painting contracting company. And when I graduated from college, I found that I could make more in one summer than I could working all year long for somebody else, like W-2. And so I was like, man, maybe I ought to do something with this, and started building and growing that business here in Utah, and soon became, one of the largest residential painting contractors in the area. And I started my business after reading a book by Michael Gerber, the 𝐕/I:Myth.
Yeah,
Great book. And it really influenced me as to how I put my company together. And I started with the end in mind and knew that one day I wanted to at least be in a position to be able to sell that. And so about 8 years later, one of my mentors, who I did a lot of painting for, he owned commercial real estate. He owned multifamily homes. I did all his painting. He'd always talk to me about real estate. And so I got quite interested in it. And so the last couple of years I was in the painting contracting business. I started flipping homes and I loved it. I loved the construction industry. So in 2004, I remember the day I was driving to work on the freeway. I was early in the morning and I was like, I think I'm ready to sell my company and go into real estate full time. And so within a year, I'd sold my company and become a full-time real estate investor. I soon realized that I didn't have enough money to buy all the great deals I was finding. And so I thought, well, maybe I could get my real estate license. I could get a discount when I'm buying the homes and selling them, and I could help my friends and family do the same thing. And shortly after doing that, I got some really good advice from my mentor who helped me understand that real wealth was built in buying and holding real estate as to just like buying and selling and making some good quick money. And so I transitioned my strategy to long-term properties. And focused mainly on single family investment properties. Even though I'd bought multifamily, I'd bought raw ground, I developed it, built new homes. I did some commercial, I did all kinds of stuff. But when I found my niche, I just really fell in love with that strategy, especially as I began helping my friends and family kind of do the same thing. That was an area, that was a niche that just regular people could do, and they could wrap their brains around it, even though they were very busy doing what it is that they do as professionals.
right.
And so over time, I kind of created this one-stop shop. I ended up buying a mortgage brokerage, and I started an insurance agency and kind of an education arm to what I was doing. And now it's all been developed into what I now call Done For You Real Estate USA. And I've got, clients in 42 states. There are 8 different markets where I help my clients buy I buy in areas where they're higher growth, population growth. That's the number one indicator for appreciation is population growth. In areas where we can still buy properties, at an affordable price and good neighborhoods. And so that's the long answer to kind of how I got my start in doing what it is that I'm doing today.
I love it. So you started out with the painting expertise and you were at homes, you were looking at pieces of real estate, applying coats of paint to these,
Yep.
and a mentor is helping you understand that these pieces of real estate here are going to have some real long-term appreciation. And you're like, yep, I agree. Let's get into that.
Yeah, I got it. I was able to kind of wrap my brain around it and just ran with it. And it's been real estate. So I absolutely love business and I love real estate. And I've had the blessing and opportunity to kind of combine those two elements together and create something that's allowed me to really help a lot of people, because I kind of feel like I'm on a mission, Kevin.
Me too. Yeah, let me hear about yours.
Yeah, I just really I know the power of real estate, like all of the benefits. Like this country was founded on ownership, business ownership, and property ownership. Like those are kind of the two founding things. Either you had a farm or you had a business back in the day. And like that, I mean, the first, 401k plan was inheriting your father's farm, right? And that became your income then became part of his income, right? So what you did with the family farm, he got to benefit from it in his old age. And all of the tax laws, the rules, they all really to this very day, if you're in real estate, people get really caught up in cash flow sometimes, but that's the least of all of the benefits of investing in real estate. And one of the greatest benefits are the tax strategies and benefits and advantages that are afforded to real estate investors. And what's kind of the mission that I'm on is this concept. Like if based on IRS statistics, only 14% of Americans have investment real estate. Yet if you look at other statistics, over 70% of Americans believe that real estate investing is one of the best investment vehicles out there. And so there are so many people who are not taking advantage of one of the greatest investment vehicles that we have available to us. And so one of my goals is just to help regular, hardworking Americans figure out how to own a small portfolio of properties. My goal when I get a new client, it's not to help them buy an investment property. It's to help them build a 10 property portfolio over the course of 15 to 20 years.
That will change the entire family legacy.
Yes, 100%. And I don't want to. If you have more questions, feel free to ask. But I would love to share, a very personal story that kind of illustrates this.
Please.
Idea. So, I'm a big believer that we get, government and other people telling our youth that it's like, hey, the world's not that great. You can't do it. When you go to school, you have to get massive student loans, and then you're going to be paying them off forever. Well, I kind of think that if we taught our children when they were younger, and if we taught our, even adults, how to invest in real estate, it's an incredibly powerful vehicle. So my son, he worked for me when he was in his early teens, 15, 16. He did research for me. And one day he came to me and was like, hey, Dad, I want one of these investment game plans. I was like, all right. I talked to him about investing in real estate. And he's like, well, I want to buy it. I want to buy some real estate. He's like, well, number one, you can't get a loan yet. Number two, you don't have the down payment. And I wasn't going to just give him money to go invest in real estate. And he was too young. He couldn't own one. So I was like, save up your money. I'll show you how to figure out your credit. And over the course of several years, about 5 years, he saved his money and he got credit worthy. And just before his 20th birthday, he purchased his first investment property in 2011.
Wow.
It was a little single family home in Phoenix, Arizona. That was one of our first expansion markets back in 2011 after the big crash. He bought a home for $86,000. He had $20,000. It was a $16,000 down payment, 20% down. He had a little bit of money to fix it up. And within 2 years, during the 2 years, he was cash flowing about $400 per month. And at the end of the 2 years, he was like, "Hey, Dad, should I like sell this property?" Because it had increased in value by about $72,000. If you can imagine now, like a 21-year-old with that much equity in a property and with that kind of cash flow. And I was like, "Well, what are your goals? What do you want to do?" He's like, "Well, ultimately, I want to own 8 properties." So I was like, "Well, then don't sell it, refinance it, pull some cash out, and purchase. You could probably purchase a couple more homes," which is exactly what he did.
So
And
this would have been about 2013.
correct. This is about 2013.
Still a great market.
Still a great market. He went off to school, got his undergrad, and one of the homes that he bought was a duplex. He lived in the basement, rented upstairs. Him and his wife lived for free. You fast forward 4 years, he went off to law school out east. 3 years later, his properties had increased in value again, and so he sold one and refinanced 2 and was able to buy 4 more, and he bought a primary residence. And so now he had his 8 properties. He's now owned them. He's now 32, so he's owned them for 12 years. His $20,000 down payment is now in equity. He has over $800,000 in equity. His cash flow is a few $1,000s per month, and he's 32 years old. He's an attorney in downtown New York, and he's got this portfolio and a really, really good start. And so it's kind of this concept of, if I knew then what I know today. And so I was able to help him. I was able to mentor him. And so, I've had the opportunity now to help hundreds and hundreds of my clients do the exact same thing. Wow. And many of my clients, they didn't get started until they were in their 60s. And now they're in their 70s, and they've got this great little portfolio, and it has changed the trajectory of their retirement, even though they didn't get started until they were in their 60s. And so that's the power of real estate. That's the power of just like micro winning your way to just slowly but surely getting to where you want to be.
I had my first duplex at age 21.
Nice.
The interest rate was 8.625.
Yeah.
I paid it off entirely in 11 years.
Wow.
And I've always believed that real estate is the most able of investments. It is mortgageable, it is improvable, it is rentable, it is sellable. There are so many things that you can do with a piece of real estate that you can't do with your Vanguard mutual funds.
Yeah.
There are so many things that you can do with a property that can be improved. You can't go down to Home Depot and get your GM stock looking better.
That's right.
So I think it's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that story about your son. What's your son's name?
His name is Dallin.
Dallin. That is a fantastic head start to life that he's got, but you're also doing that for anyone who jumps into your world, joins you as an investor, but then you also, I know you're not servicing people in all these different markets in 42 different states. So you're clearly growing real estate agents' lives as well. So tell us a little bit more about that. I know you've got the Done For You Real Estate, you've got the Investors Agent Academy. Let's talk about those things as well and let people know what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, you bet. So I've kind of branded kind of my national real estate program. I call it the Moneyball Real Estate System. The reason why I call it that, if you've ever seen the movie with Brad Pitt called Moneyball.
I love it.
Yeah, it's the exact same concept. It's just about getting on base. Like, just hit singles. You don't have to hit like real estate home runs. Like, just get on base by buying one property, and you will change your life one property at a time. And so I've created like this whole system around that concept of another term that I use called micro winning, where you just you swing the bat and you just get up to plate, and then you swing the bat and you get on base, and you just micro win your way to where you want to be. And so that's kind of like the system of real estate that I've developed over the years. And I've put together this team, all the way from, I've got an onboarding team and a marketing team, and I've got a whole pre-approval team, and then coaches. And then I have what I call designated market agents. So in each of the different markets, the different 8 markets, I have 1 to 2 real estate agents who have that designation. They've gotten trained in the Moneyball real estate system. And so through my marketing, I bring in new customers or new clients and my repeat customers because they're building a 10 property portfolio. And these agents in the designated markets, they have the fiduciary responsibility for the client when they're buying in that market. They represent them, they present the properties, and they know our whole system. I have an acquisition team here. We vet every single property that is found by one of the designated market agents. I have a 10-year, I call it a property analysis. I do about 60 property analyses per week for my agents in the markets that give a green light or a red light to each property. And so we have a very extensive vetting process for the properties. And so I've got kind of this team that kind of works, with my clients. Now, what I do as well, so I have the Moneyball real estate system, and so I call my team the Moneyball Real Estate National Fulfillment Team. So they've done more than 5,000 transactions now with my clients. They've also done a lot of work for other agents. So the beauty of this is I can have a client living in Hawaii working with one of my coaches on the fulfillment team here in Utah, buying a property in Florida or Tennessee or Oklahoma or Indiana or Texas. And it's this seamless system where the client, 95% of my clients have never seen the properties that they're buying physically. They've seen them on paper, they've seen photos of them, they've seen Google Earth images, all that kind of a thing. And so it's kind of this seamless process of buying real estate. And so I've created, and I appreciate you mentioning this, I've created a new company called the Investors Agent Academy. And what I'm doing is I'm just teaching other real estate agents to do what I do. And you can do it locally in your market if you're in a market where it's conducive to buying single family homes, if they're affordable enough, if the rent to price ratios work out, if there's good growth, those kinds of things. And so through the Investors Agent Academy, you can come and learn exactly what I do. I've got a master certification class. I've got all kinds of courses. I got like tons of courses that I've developed and put together. I teach you like how there's the whole NAR settlement thing going on right now.
Sure.
I've been charging what's called a teams fee for over 10 years now. It's nothing more than a buyer's agent commission. So it's part of my marketing. Like I introduce the value that I bring to the table, everything that I'm going to do for my clients, and I charge them a $7,000 flat fee to use my services. And I don't charge them anything until at the settlement table that, on the settlement statement, they're charged this buyer's agent commission. And then my agents who are in the markets currently, they earn their real estate buyer's agent commission in representing the client that is typically is charged, not charged, but it's paid for by the seller. And so there's this big question right now with the NAR settlement. And so through this whole concept of the teams fee, I have an answer for at least for investors agents on how they can continue to work with clients and get paid without fear. Like I have no fee resistance whatsoever. And it's because of the value that we provide to our clients up front. And so
when you're doing 60 property analysis a week, giving it the green light or the red light, you're seeing so much more than a typical mom and pop investor would ever know to even look for. So there's value in that. And then you have all of your additional ancillary services with the mortgage and getting people pre-approved and making certain that they're financially ready, but then also educating them. The value that you're delivering is really way above and beyond any fee that you're charging. So it makes a lot of sense to an investor who is saying, I like this idea. I want to have generational wealth through real estate, which historically has always been the number one tool for generational wealth. It's always been real estate. And so you've got this all pre-arranged where somebody just simply says, Steve, just show me what to do and I'll do it. And
Yeah.
then their life is changed. That's what you need to do in order to bring the level of value where the fees involved are really just a conversational point, but not a deal point.
Yeah, you're spot on, Kevin. I mean, um, I'm a big believer in delivering significant value. And so over the course of 5 to 7 years that our clients will own a property on average, compared to that team's fee, they are earning a minimum of 10 times the amount of that initial investment to get the help to assist them to purchase property from a distance. And so that's important to me, is that, when you can show value like that, where you can, uh, one of the other things that we've shown is that, hey, here's all the work that we're going to do, and here's the work that you'll do. It's 150 hours versus about 10 hours that they do. And so when they see that, they can do a really quick calculation and see the value in it. And then when they see the property analysis and they see here's what this property could do from a performance standpoint, they get pretty excited about the value that they're getting. And they, like I said, I don't get any fee resistance. And in fact, sometimes it's really interesting. I get some of my clients are like, how do you do all this like for so little?
Right. You're taking that whole conversation and turning it on its head because you are delivering so much value, especially when they look at the long-term generational wealth that real estate purchased properly, managed correctly and appropriately and prudently will just deliver. It will just deliver.
Yes. Yep. 100%. And it's really like I mentioned earlier, I love business and I love real estate, but business gets really, really fun when you get to do it in such a way that it benefits the lives in such a significant way. Like the impact that we can have as agents in the lives of our clients is so powerful. Like, I just feel really like blessed to be in this industry
Me
and
too.
to have the ability to have so much impact in such a positive way. It's really rewarding.
Well, for me too, and you might share this sentiment. I am a strong believer in my Christian faith, and yet I'm not on the altar or on the platform preaching, and yet I look at the work that I do as my ministry.
Oh, I love that.
And
That's
just the way that I can be the hands and feet of God to other people. No, I'm not baptizing people. No, I'm not converting them to faith or bringing them back to faith. But I am helping them understand a path to living the very best life that God intends for them to live.
wow. I love that. And what this does, what helping in like regular people invest in real estate does, is it creates a certain degree of freedom and agency where they then have the capacity and the ability to give back. They now have the time in order to pursue their own personal ministry with friends and neighbors around them, right? And live the two great commandments. And it helps people get in a position to have that agency to create the life that they would like. And when you're in that position, typically, at least what I have found with my clients, and they come from all walks of life across this country, is that most people are just good people. And when they have the means and the time and the freedom, typically people don't spend their time on the golf course. They go out and serve. And as a real estate agent who is helping people create some form of additional financial freedom, I believe that it empowers people to go and do good.
I agree 100%. When you have the financial capability to help other people, then you're able to help other people. But when you don't have the financial capability, then no matter what you would like to do, you just don't have the capability to do it. And I've always believed from a very early age that real estate is the highest potential achievement with the lowest bar of entry.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, even though we've gone to college. I don't need a college degree in order to improve a piece of real estate, identify an up and coming neighborhood, recognize that a piece of real estate is undervalued right now, and with a nice coat of paint, maybe some fresh granite countertops, that thing's going to be worth a whole lot more if somebody just sort of brings it back to life. And you can do that so quickly. And you and I are in this industry where we're helping people also enjoy the benefits of real estate. There's no reason why anybody couldn't just jump in. So you've got this amazing ministry through your work that you're doing, and you've got your Done For You Real Estate USA. Talk more about that, because you're obviously needing more real estate agents across the country to help people, but you're also able to help people across the country who are interested in investing in real estate.
Yeah. Look, so the way that I kind of see what it is that I'm doing, I'm on this mission to empower other people through the benefits of real estate. And I help a couple hundred people every single year. Even in one of the toughest economies that we've experienced in this century, I was fortunate enough to help 200 of my clients purchase properties in 2023, and on track to do even more than that this year. But here's the difficult thing, is that like 200 or a couple hundred, deals in a year, like I'm not a drop in the drop of a buck,
No.
right? And so if I can help other real estate agents take advantage of investment in real estate, like everybody wants to invest in real estate. I believe that all roads lead to real estate. You do well in business, you want to buy real estate. You win the lottery, you want to buy real estate. Like everything in life eventually leads to real estate from a financial perspective. And everybody understands inherently, I think it's kind of in our DNA, living in this country, that owning property, real estate is something that we would all love to do. And because of all of the great benefits. So through the Investors Agent Academy, if I can empower more real estate agents to do something similar to what I'm doing in their own market, or whether they plugged into my national fulfillment team and expanded their geography so that they could help their clients and their friends who may live anywhere in the country do more investment real estate, then I've done some good. And number one, I've helped more real estate agents do more business, more transactions, may earn more money through their business of being a real estate agent. And they have helped their clients become investors in real estate, which then expands. And so, meaning, like if I had, if there were a couple hundred agents who, were involved with Investors Agent Academy and they were helping their clients, all of a sudden it's like, oh, collectively, we just helped 1,000 people instead of a couple hundred people. And who knows where that could go. And so, and here's the other thing. Part of being an investor's agent, which I believe you epitomize, is that you are also an investor. One, you're an investor in yourself and bettering yourself, but also you are a real estate investor yourself. Like the benefits that we get to take advantage of as real estate professionals, like I have to be careful what I say, because I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax attorney. So this is not tax advice by any means or stretch. But man, like you can take a single family home, do a cost segregation study, and then take advantage of bonus depreciation. And if you just do one property a year, you can eliminate, probably your entire income tax bill with one property, because you can take that bonus depreciation, which is the entire depreciation that you could do over 27.5 years, and you can depreciate it all in year one. And the tax benefits to that for real estate professionals. And of course, you have to qualify as a real estate professional, which is more than just having a real estate license. But if you can qualify for that, like, my goodness, I hope that you would consider buying at least one property yourself every year, because you could take the taxes that you would pay and you can invest in a property.
Exactly.
Instead, at least with a down payment on a property. And so it's powerful what tools we have right at our disposal as real estate professionals.
I've read, and I'm sure you've caught these statistics as well. I'm a bit of a news, real estate news junkie. I don't pay any attention to any other news because I find that all to be a bit of a distraction. But I find little tidbits about the real estate marketplace to be very interesting. And I may not quote the numbers exactly right, but the net worth of a renter is somewhere in the neighborhood of like $5,000. And the net worth of a property owner is somewhere in the neighborhood of like $265,000. And that is night and day difference. Now, the difference between somebody who owns a piece of real estate versus somebody who owns 10 pieces of real estate and who has those all properly managed and who is taking a real strategic approach. And really, by the time they get up to the third piece of real estate, they're getting pretty strategic about their management and their oversight and their maintenance issues and all that. But when you get up to 10 pieces of real estate over the course of, say, call it 12 years, from today, 12 years from now, you could be owning 10 pieces of real estate. And then you pay those things off 30 years from now, or 30 years from now, 20 years from the last one that you bought, whatever that might be, you're looking at a massive amount of wealth. And all of the tax codes are written to benefit and protect and encourage that type of investment.
Yeah. Yeah. So I call that economic independence. You get 10 properties under your belt and you've created a significant degree of economic independence. If you're a regular American, like, if you're somebody who spends millions of dollars a year, then maybe not. But for regular folk like me, that's life-changing. You have 10 properties. And like you say, you have those paid off, in 20, 30 years. It's like your life is transformed.
It is. And what else is fascinating about that is that there's so much that you can be doing with those properties, and not just having them rented out in the open market where you're getting fair market value rents for those properties, but you could be helping somebody in need for a short period of time because you have the capability.
Yes.
You could be housing some students who are on a mission trip because you have the space and you can choose to make that decision. If you don't have that type of portfolio, and if you don't have that type of wealth scenario, you might want to be able to help people, but you're not able to help them to the full extent that you really wish that you could. But there are so many different things that you could be doing with real estate. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you touched on this earlier. Real estate just gives you choices. So with a piece of real estate, you can sell it, you can refinance it, you can get a HELOC on it, you can rent it out, you can tear it down and grow a garden. You just have so many different options in order to, take care of your family and help take care of other people. And the key, and this is one of the other things that you touched on really well, I feel like, and that is when you invest in real estate on purpose and with a plan, it becomes very powerful. There are too many people out there who succeed at real estate by accident, meaning they time the market. They don't even know why they did well. They happen to time the market. And the problem with that is the market, the minute there's a shift in the market, they lose everything because they didn't understand the fundamentals. But when you understand the fundamentals and how they work, you can take advantage of investing in real estate whether the market's down, whether it's up, whether interest rates are high, whether interest rates are low. Like, it doesn't matter. There's a great saying, which is this: the best time to have purchased real estate, investment real estate, or any real estate was 20 years ago. The next best time is today, right? And it doesn't matter what the market is doing as long as you have the right strategy, as long as you're buying right. And so when you learn the fundamentals and you understand those fundamentals, now all of a sudden you took timing out of the equation. And it doesn't matter. Like, I bought real estate at the peak of the market in 2007, 2008. I think I bought like 4 or 5 homes, and it didn't matter. Like, I was cash flowing my $300-400 a month. And so I was like, well, I'll just hang tight. And yeah, it was painful to see the value of those properties go down. But it's like, well, I guess my worst case scenario is to just to collect a few $100s a month on each of the properties. And then the market came roaring back like it always does. And those have become my best performing properties. And so it really doesn't matter. Like in today's market, and here's the crazy thing, and I'll share this about today's market. I'm telling you right now that there probably hasn't been a better time in the history of this country to buy real estate than today, even though interest rates are just a little bit higher. Like, Kevin, if you could go back into the 80s and you could buy 10 homes at 14% interest, like, wouldn't you try and snatch those up as quick as you possibly can?
Of course. And I would be buying the best ones I could.
Yes, because every one of those has made whoever owned those during this period of time like very, very wealthy. And
Give me
so,
lakefront, give me golf course frontage, give me waterfront of some sort, give me mountain views. Yeah, count me in because real estate just continues to rise over time. And when you have a purpose and a plan, then it's all going to work out very well.
yeah, I mean, in today's market, like, uh, you know, there is pent up demand. Every time the interest rate like lowers by like, I don't know, an eighth, buying spikes. It spikes a little bit.
Yeah, loan
And
originations increase immediately.
yeah, the minute rates go down, it's going to be, it's going to be this crazy competition again. Right now, I'm getting 2% seller paid concessions every time we make offers on homes and a little bit below asking price. Like a little bit, a part of me is kind of like, I hope the interest rates stay high for a little while longer. I don't want that because I want like first time home buyers to be able to take advantage and so on.
Of course.
But from an investment standpoint, a little bit of a self-interest standpoint, man, I hope it stays like this a little bit longer because right now is such a great time to buy.
It is a great time to buy. And what's so interesting for those of us who have been around long enough is that we made smart buying decisions when interest rates were like I bought at 8.625. And it was the math worked. It was a duplex. It made sense. I understood how the cash would flow and I would cover all the expenses. And then you know what happened a year later? I was able to raise my rent rates. And then another year later, my rent rates went up again. And then I was able to very quickly pay off that 8.625 in 11 years. And it all just worked. I think that the US real estate marketplace got overly spoiled with these 3% interest rates because then people didn't need the numbers to make sense. But
Yep.
the reality of it is now is a great time because the numbers do make sense. And those of us who are able to purchase right now are going to purchase right now and then ride that appreciation wave that we just know is going to come. Why? Because it always does come.
Yeah. And you just look at the market there is such a massive shortage of millions of homes that still need to be built. And so that's, although, sales are down, there's massive pent up demand. And so it's
There.
just a matter of time and things. We'll continue to march upward.
They will. And I'm so excited for what you've got going on. I want everyone to know how to reach out to you. So I know that we can have people go to your website to learn about becoming a 10 property portfolio member with you. Tell us that website.
Yeah. So dfy-realestate.com. You can go there. There's a lot of good information on there. You can take a look at, I've got reports of the past, 10 years, every single property that my clients have ever purchased, all the stats, purchase price, rehab price, projected rent, actual rent, days on market to get rented versus actual days to get rented, all that stuff. If you're kind of the engineer type, you can kind of look at all that stuff. But above and beyond that, there's lots of good information. And I'd love to chat with anybody. I'm kind of an open book, and I give up my information pretty freely to other real estate agents. Happy to. You can call me anytime, 801-836-6050. If you ever just have a question about investing in real estate, happy to share with you and help you in any way that I possibly can.
I think that is fantastic. And I love that in Moneyball, the movie, where Oh, I used to know these. I've watched that movie like 6 times. It's an awesome movie. And Brad Pitt turns to Jonah Hill and says, "Why do we want him?" And Jonah Hill's like, "You want me to talk? Yeah. Why do we want this guy? Because he gets on base."
Yep.
and and why, you've got investors in Hawaii looking at Florida real estate. It's the numbers. You can look at this stuff and you can just see, yeah, this is going to get you on base. This is going to get you on base. This one, let's not buy this property because it doesn't pass our analysis. We're going to red light that one, but this one, green light. This one, green light. I think that's an enormous service. Now, if real estate agents want to join you, become a referral partner with you, somebody who is able to help your clients, where do they go as well?
Yep. If they will go to investors, and that's with an S, so investorsagent.com. You can go there, get some good information. There's some really some good videos you can watch. I have a master class that you can watch there and get a good understanding of what it is that we do at the investorsagent.com. And happy to chat with you about that as well.
Fantastic. Steve Earl, just outside of Provo, Utah. Thank you so much for being on the Realty Funnels podcast. I think you've shared a lot. I'm super excited for what you're doing.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's been wonderful just to get to know you just a little bit better.
You too. Thank you so much.